So hopefully you're not going to watch this video, but if you are, that means that the UK and Spanish government haven't agreed still on the UK exchange driving licences. And no doubt you know all about it, guys. It's been going on ever since the Brexit. They extended the time limit, but as from the 1st of May of this year, if you've been living in Spain for more than 6 months, you need to exchange your driving licence to a Spanish one, and it also means that you're going to have to take a Spanish driving test. Now, it's still ongoing talks. The embassy, the UK government site keeps putting up messages saying it's nearly there, but they can't give a date. But I know quite a few people, especially in this area, that can't drive at the moment, which is pretty difficult. It's all right, you know, when you can drive and suddenly you can't drive anymore, and it just makes things so difficult. So anyway, the other week I actually went down to the Spanish driving learning place down in Mazaron. Now obviously this is going to be different from each region, but here in this region, if you need to take the test, it's got to be done in Lorca. But before you can do the test, there's a couple of things you've got to do first. You've got to do a theory test, you've got to have a physical test, which is more like a medical test, and then you've actually got to take the test. Now it obviously comes with a price, and depending on how good you are, and it doesn't mean, you know, maybe you've been driving lorry and you're the expert driver of the year. Passing the Spanish driving test doesn't give you an exemption. You've still got to do the test, guys. Now the theory test, apparently you can do it in English. What you do, you get an app, you can go online and you can do it as many times as I believe, but you obviously, through the school, you have to pay for the app. Now, the lady I was speaking to, it sounds virtually you've got to pay 400 euros. If you want the book, there's a book that you can buy if you want to. Apparently you can do it online. But if you buy the book, it's another 25 euros. So that's 425 euros you paid out already. And you can go online and you can do, as far as I know, as many times as you like, until you think you're ready. Now, in the book, I believe there's 2,000 questions. And out of that 2,000 questions on the actual test itself, they only ask you 30. Now, I believe you've got 30 minutes to do it in the test itself, but you can only fail it by 3. Now, a friend of mine, he's been a lorry driver for years, and he did say the problem is that when you fail, they don't tell you what you failed on. So that's another pain, really. And he said there's some questions there about trams. There's not many places, especially in the Murcia region, other than the cities, where there are trams about. But anyway, he did say he failed by 5, so he failed. He can take it again. You can have 3 attempts before you got to do it all again. You have to pay all the money again, but you got 3 attempts. And what they try and say is pass the theory, and then you got 2 attempts of trying to pass the driving test. So the actual theory test is, from what I was told, you go to Lorca to do the test in the classroom. Now don't say it's gospel, because I'm only getting this off other people. I haven't done it myself, so I can't say for definite that's what you would happen. But I know you got to take the test in the class to do the theory. And then when the instructor thinks you're good enough, what they want you to do at the driving school is go out a couple of times driving. I believe it's about 25 euros, something like that, for a 45-minute drive around. I'm not going to say that's the set price, but there's about that price. And once the instructor thinks you're good enough, then you go and do. They then say go and take your practical, your physical test, which is more of a medical. It's to make sure that you can hear, that you can see. Now, the place in Mazaron, you're supposed to do an awareness test. Is where you got 2. It's like a game thing. You got 2 little finger things, and you're supposed to keep the ball in the middle or something. But when I went there, this is going back a couple of years, and I believe it's still the same. They haven't got, the machine's not working, so they missed that part out. That doesn't matter. You pay them the 40 euros. You do an eye test, and it's done in about 5 minutes. Nothing difficult there. Right, so once the instructor thinks you're good enough, and one thing I forgot to tell you guys is, in this region, now it could be different in Malaga, Barcelona, but in this region, what she did say is the examiner may not speak English at all. You can't take a translator with it, so virtually what she was saying, you got to learn Spanish. So she won't put you forward until she thinks you've got enough Spanish in you. And we're talking about instructions, because I'll get on to the test in a minute. So when they think you're good enough, you go to Lorca, and the other thing is, part of the test, you need to know the town of Lorca, because the first part of the test is, he will say to you, take me to the local hospital, or take me to the town hall, or take me to the local supermarket, and you got to take him there, and no doubt on the way he'll tell you about turning left and turning right. One of the things that one of the guys is sort of being out practicing, you're not allowed to reverse, so just remember that as well. So what happens, you go to Lorca, you do a practice test first. I believe that costs €55. The test itself, I think, costs 35. I'm not swearing on those figures. I'll try, if I can try and find the correct figures, I'll try and put it below. And then you go out on the test. I think the test is about half an hour, if that. Now the examiner will sit in the back of the car. Your instructor will sit next to you. Now, I believe also you go out in the instructor's car. You don't go out in your own car, you go out in the instructor's car. And then, obviously, the first thing you would do is say, take me to the local hospital. And then the rest is, I presume, just basic driving. I can't tell you because I haven't been on it. But from what I can hear on the net, that's what it is, really. And once you've passed, and then you have to pay, believe it or not, you've got to pay for your own driving licence, which I think is €99, something like that. So it is some money involved, quite a bit if you're not very good. Because I did ask the lady that runs the place down in Mazaron. I put the name of the driving school that I went to. Yeah. She said it could take a couple of weeks. It could take... How long's a piece of string? It could take a couple of years if she thinks you're that bad. And another thing I found out as well, they don't do automatic. So if you've been driving an automatic car, you better start learning to drive a manual car, a gear car. Now, obviously, somebody did say the other day, well, what about electric cars? Well, electric cars obviously don't seem to be very popular at the moment. There are electric cars about, but for the actual driving test, you've got to do it in a manual geared car. So, sorry about all this information, but obviously at the moment, the government, well, both governments have been saying, yeah, we're chatting and things are going well. And hopefully you don't see this video, but if you do see this video, that's the process at the moment. And I know a couple of guys are still hanging on, hoping that the governments will drop it all and you can just exchange your license like what I did. I mean, all I had to do was take the physical test, pay me €40, and exchange the driving license. And it took, believe it or not, about 5 months, to be honest. They give you a piece of paper from the police station to say that, you know, you've got a driving license. Now, don't start asking me about hiring cars and things like that, because I'm not too sure on that. As far as I know, you got to exchange your license, guys, unfortunately. Anyway, I hope you found that bit useful, gives you some idea. I mean, I've seen a couple write-ups about people trying to take their test, but that's what it's here like in the Mazaron area. Now, I'm not too sure if you lived in the Murcia region where you would take your test there, but if you live in the Mazaron area, you need to take it in Lorca. So if your partner can still drive, then start driving around Lorca, getting to use, because they've got a lot of narrow streets there. Start getting used to know about where the roads are and that. Yeah, not good news, I must say. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thank you much for watching.